So Bitcoin's replaying the 2022 bear market bottom with about 98% accuracy. And then we have institutions trickling in, dropping $220 million back into crypto ETFs while no one's paying attention to it. Let's dive in. So Bitcoin's officially tracking the 2022 bear market bottom almost 1-for-1. Here we're seeing in this article here, daily correlation around 80% and monthly correlation a shocking 98%. Now I get it. You can kind of paint this picture either way. Like if you want to be bearish, you want to believe that the 4-year cycle is still there, then you can paint a picture as to why. And same thing from a bullish sentiment, showing that there is going to be a continuation. But taking a look here, November historically has said if you have a red November, you're going to have a red December. But the only question I have is, what about the macroeconomic conditions that we have never seen before? Institutions accumulating Bitcoin, a lot of companies adding Bitcoin to their balance sheets, right? So this model right here shows that Bitcoin is mirroring the exact path from last cycle bottom. Taking a look here at Bitcoin in November, but then you also have asset class flows, and then you can see what's happening with ETFs. But the one thing I want to pay attention to is historically Bitcoin retests. So despite the pain, despite the inflows into risk assets, you can see everything. The market feels terrible right now, right? Nothing is pumping. But despite all that, chart projection is suggesting Q1 2026 push. So, that's what everyone's waiting for, right? So we'll see how that plays out. And like I said, you can kind of find a avenue and a framework either way, right? So there, despite the pain, despite everything that's going on, there are inflows happening. There is accumulation happening, and it's public. A lot of it has to be public, but I think there's a lot of it going over the counter as well. So this exact setup is what 2022 bottom looked like right before a crazy run. History doesn't repeat itself, but it rhymes. And that's kind of where we stand at this point as we're looking at pretty much the outlook of these crypto markets. So here we can look at macro sentiment change. Still has the potential to deliver a classic Santa rally across risk assets before year end. And the reason why that's being said is because ETF data is showing us 220 million in inflows the week of Thanksgiving, right? Ether ETFs added another 312 million. So this reverses part of that massive 4.35 billion outflows we've had in November. So we're seeing a slight pullback when it comes to that bearish move that we've seen most of November. We're even seeing equity markets here, have a comeback as well. 900 billion in inflows as well. And, equities attracted more money than all other asset classes combined. So the macro sentiment is turning. The Santa rally still is on the table, and we have institutions stepping back in, Bitcoin ETF inflows as well. And that usually leads to price action by the weeks coming. So this could be early signs of a crypto rotation despite everyone freaking out. And like I said, you can make a case. There is a strong case that this is possible. Next up, we have BlackRock. BlackRock exec says perfectly normal as IBIT sees 2.3 billion in outflows in November. So total two major withdrawal days was November 18th, which had about 523 million, and then November 14th had about 463 million in outflows. So BlackRock exec says, again, it's normal market behavior. He's pretty much saying that the ETF closed November under pressure after experiencing heavy withdrawals, and it became very close to 100 billion in total assets at its peak. So this is still one of the most successful ETF launches ever. Even after the pullback, investors in IBIT are now back in profit. Like it's still there. So we see that, right? So we see what's going on in the markets, and to be honest with you, retail sees the outflows, and everyone's thinking panic. Institutions see outflows and see it as rebalancing. So even BlackRock is telling everyone this is normal. Don't overthink it. Long-term trend is still intact. ETF demand not going anywhere. So that is the writing on the wall. And I think, like I said before, I think a lot of these institutions are accumulating significantly. They believe the next outperformers will be, coming as more ETFs launch, right? Bitcoin's the foundation. Ethereum's the foundation. Next up, we have Wells Fargo. Wells Fargo making the headlines as well. Rotation out of tech and consumer stocks. So they're pivoting as well. So we talk about that rotation, right? And the reason for that rotation is, of course, short-term rates expected to fall, lower bank deposit costs. Long-term rates will likely stay firm, even rise and boost lending profits. Banks benefit from that yield spread. So we see Wells Fargo making a pivot just like every major institution. So when big banks talk rotation, they aren't guessing, they're positioning, they do their homework, right? The writing's on the wall, they do their homework. These aren't just like wake up one day, go into the office and say, yep, let's do this. No, the research is done, right? Probably dozens of people doing research on this data. So macro plays like gold and Bitcoin, like they're paying attention to all of this. And that's why when we look at even Jamie Dimon, right, making those claims and now allowing people to utilize the Bitcoin that he says is trash, that he doesn't like it. It's used for money laundering, right? Like that is what we're seeing. The homework has been done despite what they say. Watch what they do, not what they say. So overall, we see Bitcoin looking like it's the same deep pain zone as 2022. We see it here. It's looking the same. It's looking the same. And we have ETFs showing early signs of institutional confidence. And we have Wells Fargo pivoting. And then we have BlackRock saying ETF flows are normal, right? Everyone is accumulating. Everyone is positioning themselves for this next push up, right? So that pain that everyone's experiencing right now usually is a reset. The Bitcoin bottom setups always feel like this. Hopeless, quiet, ignored, like the same thing we've seen every time. And if the 2022 pattern holds, the first few months of 2026 may deliver a breakout everyone expected too early. So that's something to watch out for and be ready for, because once the rally starts, you're going to see a bull run like we've never seen before, with institutional backing, with some regulatory clarity, and also with a lot of investors, more money pouring in than we've ever seen before. Hope you guys got some value out of this video. Keep moving forward in everything that you do. See you soon.